Hello and welcome. Today we're wrapping up this Imagine Something Super series with one last edition, Deadpool. Over my summer, I was binge watching a lot of Stump Kitchen here on YouTube, which is a really cool, fun channel. If you were a fan of old school My Drunk Kitchen, you'll probably love Stump Kitchen. It's hosted by someone named Alexis, who only has one hand. So you can see how I made that connection when I had been watching Stump Kitchen all day, then watched Deadpool that night. That was entirely accidental timing. I did not know about Deadpool's tiny hand. For years and years, all I knew about Deadpool was that he was sassy and sarcastic and broke the fourth wall. I had heard a lot about him, but somehow not once did I hear what his superpowers were or what his origin story was. I only learned what his superpowers were this year when someone at work showed me a video, and I was like, so his powers are dying, I guess? Finally, watching the movie was interesting. I didn't know what to expect other than that style of humor. I wasn't expecting a main character who wasn't really a hero, he just got superpowers. I also wasn't expecting that they would make him and keep him the way that he turns out while receiving his superpowers. Back in the day, I could imagine them twisting this into a version of this story where it ends and Deadpool gets a magic serum that sure takes away his superpowers, but he's pretty again, so everything is solved. Here we actually get a main character that goes through a pretty big change in appearance, and not in like a cute makeover kind of way. The entire vengeance plot is about how he feels too ugly to go back to his lady. And then, in the end, she sees him anyway and still loves him. You know, actually, I'm starting to realize why this was my least favorite of all the movies. Because it was fueled by vanity and vengeance, not trying to make the world a little bit better. But it's got some good lessons in there anyway. Something that Alexis does really well with Stump Kitchen is she showcases and celebrates the limb differences that appear on her show. One of my favorite things is seeing ways where those different limbs are actually an advantage. Like she'll use her stump as a juicer for lemons or to grease cupcake tins. And it's not in that inspirational montage kind of way, it's all just very normalized. She just happens to have a different tool at her disposal compared to two-handed people. Or even some of the other people with limb differences who come on her show. I know if I was a little kid with a limb difference, or even now as an adult if I was to suddenly lose a limb, I'd really love having more things like Stump Kitchen just to see that it's not uncommon. I also want to be careful to note here that I'm also not trying to turn this into some inspirational spiel, but rather I'm thinking of these things all the same way. Glasses, different genders, emotional support animals, limb differences, they're all just traits of very real, very complex people. They're just things that I want to see more representations of in media. But enough about that. Now on to the art. This one was one of the more fun ones to work on. Not only was it one of the faster ones for me to do, but it was also the one where I really pushed the lighting to something really dramatic. Does it fit with the rest of the series? Not really. Does it fit with Deadpool? Questionable. But is it the kind of lighting I've been wanting to try out for a while? Absolutely. And because this piece wasn't for a client, it wasn't for a job, I get to do what I want to do, and I wanted to play with lighting. So there. Ha ha ha. After the Captain Marvel piece, I think I realized I wanted to learn more about how to do dynamic lighting. So I did a practice piece featuring my neighbor's dog that I will post soon. Doing that gave me a better understanding of how to use the rim lighting I'd been playing with in Spider-Man, as well as some of the ways that I need to use shadows and overlay layers a little bit better. Compositionally, this one was the most challenging. A lot of the promotional art for Deadpool was either very not on par with the kid-friendly stuff I was doing, or it was a parody of another superhero. I wanted something that didn't belong to another character, but still fit with the family-friendly vibes of my other pieces. I ended up kind of just picking a pose that showed off the silhouette and weapons well. I originally didn't have the unicorn in my sketch, but as I brought it into Photoshop and started laying things out, I realized that posing him like he's fighting looked a bit incomplete without something to fight. The stuffed toy unicorn seemed like an appropriate addition and fit perfectly not only with the Deadpool stuff, but also the little kid imaginary world. Color choice with this one was slightly more challenging, at least when it came to the background. A lot of the way that Deadpool is shown features a stark white cyc wall kind of background, and I knew I wanted something a little more decorative to go with the rest of the series. Still doesn't fully go with the rest of the series, but it is decorative. I tried to play a little more with textures on the background of this one to harken back to a few of the posters that I saw with a bunch of rubble and destruction. Using a spatter brush to get splashes of dots freckled across the back, as well as taking a small detail brush and scribbling out my own scratchy texture, I just wanted something that looked very scuffed up and dirty. It took me a while to get the lighting and gradient stuff just right, and part of that comes down to being indecisive. I was trying to see if I wanted something more centralized, where the light was coming from right behind the characters, creating a dark vignette all around the edges, or if I wanted something more linear, where the light started at the top and faded down. Ultimately, I decided that the centralized lighting was a bit more dramatic and fit with the rim lighting I wanted to add a little bit better. The other factor that took me a while with my background was my computer. Usually I dread doing the backgrounds, even if they're something simple, because in order to do them smoothly, I've got to scale up the brushes, and then painting takes forever because my computer doesn't like that. But at least it still runs, so I'll take it. This series was delightful to work on. Not only did I learn a lot about my own art and style and leveled up on my lighting skills, but I also learned a lot about fan art, its validity, how to enjoy things, and giving things a chance after a very, very long time actively avoiding them. I don't think I've converted into a big fan of these superhero things that are coming out into the mainstream now, but at least now there's parts of it that I can appreciate a little bit more. And last, for future me, and if you're also curious, in the webcam footage there, you can kind of see what I'm watching as I work. And right now, I've been really into watching the Nancy Drew Twitch streams from Her Interactive. I'm especially loving them because they take breaks every hour-ish, and sometimes do a drinking game with either water or coffee to stay hydrated. And it's been really healthy to put those on and sort of follow along with those habits as I work. That just about does it. I hope you enjoyed this mini-series of imagining super somethings. If you want to see more of these, just let me know in the comments below, and if you have any questions, please ask. I'll do my best to answer them. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. I already have more to come next week, so just because this series is done does not mean that I'll be going radio silent again. I've got more prepared for you already. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.